Hello, everybody. It's Nathan Freeberg from Leadership Vision. Well, I'm really excited because in just a few short days, we have another webinar where we're going to be talking about Strengths Communicator Training, Strengths Communicator Training. We're going to give you a taste of it, and we're going to be talking about that word communicator. Brian, Linda, welcome to this little mini episode of the Leadership Vision podcast / webinar prep
Thank you
session.
very much. We feel very welcome.
What are we going to be talking about? Last time we talked about maybe some high-level stuff, gave them a little taste of explaining one of the themes. What is this webinar going to be talking about? How are we going to be sharing a taste of Strengths Communicator Training this time?
The taste of this training is focusing on what it means to be a communicator, what it means to understand your own style, your voice, how you show up, and how you can use the tool of strengths and understand how you communicate in the world and how you listen.
One of the most common reactions we get from people who complete our Strengths Communicator training is this surprise at what they got out of it. They thought that this training was simply to, become this deep dive into the nuances, intricacies, and mysteries of strength, which, in part it is. But the majority of the training is about practicing the one-to-one conversation where you learn how you should be preparing, how you show up, how is it that you listen. And the real twist on the training is people understanding that, Strengths Communicator Training is not about me being a really great communicator about strengths. It's me being a listener to the person I'm talking to, because that person sitting across from you, they are the one that becomes the strengths communicator. So stylistically, how do you create an experience where it's a safe place for someone to begin to express themselves with this new language of strengths?
And I feel like, communication, the idea of being a communicator, we're always communicating, right? In every facet of our lives, whether that's with our families, with our jobs, with, just the friends. We communicate verbally, non-verbally, interpersonally, intrapersonally. And so understanding how we do that through a strengths lens, I feel like is so important and so critical as we embrace this idea of strengths. Anything else that would maybe pique people's interest about coming to this event that may help encourage them to sign up for this webinar, this free live 25-minute webinar?
Sometimes people will sign up for training because they really want to get better at the style that they know. The style of how they teach, the style of how they train, the style of how they consult, how they coach. And they want to really shape that, kind of polish it up, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I think we're doing is we're teaching you this style of just sitting, just remaining. I'm an introvert. I'm a proud introvert, and according to the Progressive commercial, that's really rare. And what I like is this training. In some ways, it allows you to be introverted and understand that you can ask 7 questions and somehow fill up an hour's worth of time. And that, to me, that's a style. That's a style takeaway. But for other people who are more extroverted, it truly is learning how to sit, to wait, to listen, and just to ask those curious leading questions for other people to respond to, and then just wait for them to step deeper and deeper and deeper into their understanding of themselves.
Linda, you had a great example of one of these conversations you were conducting, and the person sat down and said a bunch of stuff, have some questions, and you were like, "Oh, actually, this is great. This is great. This
Great
is
fodder.
all useful information." Do you want to share that? Because I feel like there's an important point there to be made about how this training can really transform your thinking about approaching this work.
That's right. This last week, I met with a gentleman. I did a one-to-one conversation with him, and he had quite a few thinking themes, including ideation, which was very creative, and then the strength of achiever. And so as he began the session, and I'm ready to just ask the opening question, and he said, "Now, I don't want to control traffic here, but I just kind of would like to know what the outline and the goal of this session is." And I just started giggling. And we had rapport, so I knew him. And I just said, "I've just heard all of your strengths in your question." So the assumption that there was, a roadmap or a thought process, and then the creativity of oh, well, I don't want to control traffic. So he's putting an idea into me. Like I'm seeing that visually as well as trying to get something done. As we're giving you a lot of information about the strengths, we're also helping you fine tune your approach and your skill in listening. You have to trust us, but with practice, you will just learn. And so we would say Strengths Communicator is for everyone. So tune into the webinar to get a sense of how this training could help refine the way that you listen and are present to others.
Because part of learning your style is it's not learning a style of what you're bringing to the conversation. It's learning about a style that is about receiving, like what you're receiving from the conversation.
I don't know if you can hear the work being done in our garage, but some of you listened to our podcast a couple of weeks ago. I shared a story about how I had this trailer get stolen from our the front of our house, and the guy working on our garage several years ago, he had his entire trailer with all of his tools stolen. And I was like, oh man, how long did it take to like get all of the tools like purchased and like whatever? And he's like, well, the acquiring of the tools wasn't the difficult part. It's for like a true craftsman, a carpenter, it's getting all the tools, but then there's fine tuning of the tools. It's knowing exactly how like a new, I'm not good with tools. So, a new saw, a new router, whatever you have, like getting it dialed in to use the way that just you want to use it, which is, I guess, different from carpenter to carpenter. And I feel like our training is a little bit the same way. It's not just a matter of like, here's all the tools you need, now go do it. It's like, here's this tool, and maybe you prefer this type of a blade, or having it, angled in this particular way, or, having this little adjustment so it fits your, larger or smaller hand better to get more like fine movement. And it's just like, I've never really made that connection before, but I feel like that is what our training is doing. And so I was slightly distracted by the noise happening out here that I don't know if it's picking up on your end. It's like, wait a second, I think this could be a good metaphor. So this
Nathan,
Thursday.
Well, wait a second. Nathan, that is your generative strengths of ideation, communication,
thank you.
And adaptability, or maybe adaptimizer, as you were...
And as soon as you mentioned the word tool, I stopped listening. If you would have said he lost a pair of running shoes, and if I knew, I'd still be listening.
Anyway,
but you
back
said
to
tool,
Thursday.
I'm like,
Thank you. So this Thursday, April 21st, 12:30 Central Time, we're going to be hosting a webinar where you can have get just a taste of what our Strengths Communicator training is about, and learn a little bit about how not only will we give you these tools, but we'll help you understand the unique way that you might use them to help others, including yourself, better understand your strengths. Brian and Linda, I'm so excited to do yet another webinar with you. This is going to be a monthly thing for us. So if you're not already on our Leadership Vision email list, please go to leadershipvision.com, and there's all kinds of buttons to click and join our mailing list. We also have a couple of free resources that we're giving away. So if you click on the team page or the individual page, there's some stuff there. So, well, thank you for listening and watching the Leadership Vision podcast and video, where we are sharing our expertise in the discovery, practice, and implementation of a strengths-based approach to people, teams, and culture. For more resources about developing your strengths, the strengths of your team, or the strengths of your entire organization, or to register for this free webinar, you can visit us on the web at leadershipvisionconsulting.com. I'm Nathan Freeberg.
I'm Linda Schubring.
and I am still Brian Schubring.
And on behalf of our entire team,
Thanks
for listening.